Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be, and welcome to Pit Road Productions, or indeed, if you are watching on Swelio Almeida's channel, a huge welcome to you there. We are here for Season 3B, ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed round 4 of this little mini-season they're having here before they get into the main season coming next. We've got a couple of details on that. I'm not sure if we can share them yet, so we'll probably wait for one of the coaches, but ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be a absolute belter, and what a fantastic combination as well. We've had a couple of different cars here on the Almeida Racing Elite Academy, and this time we're going to be in the Legends car, often more associated with oval, but indeed very, very fun, very potent around a road course as well. But ladies and gentlemen, we should probably introduce ourselves. My name is Daniel Zippy Salmon, and joining me in the booth today is going to be Reese, the Southpaw Racer Gardner, and at the production controls, Rob, the Goatee Campbell. Reese, I've got to say, the Legends car, a lot of fun on a road course. Is this something you've had a bit of experience with yourself?
I've certainly driven the Legends on road courses, and I have commentated quite a few Legends races on road courses as well. Very fun racing. But this is the first time I've ever broadcasted a race at the 100 layout of Snetterton circuit. This is a pretty interesting combination, I have to say. This track's only 1.5 Ks long, just under a mile, and only got a few turns. It's going to be interesting in these cars for sure.
Absolutely, and I've got to say as well, the Legend car, I really enjoy it. It's one of the, I actually thought about making a season of these things because it's just so much fun. But one of the biggest things that I did notice is the draft is indeed very noticeable in these. You can definitely get a really good slipstream going. But then not only that, because it has such a short wheelbase, the limit is a very fine line, ladies and gentlemen. It's almost like you need a ballet shoe to try and manage this. And certainly myself, I have a feeling I'm going to see a couple of these drivers maybe find that point and indeed come a cropper. But I've got to say, it's going to be an interesting variety. We've got a couple of familiar names in here. The crowd favourite, Leon Bentvelsen, has indeed made a return this week. And definitely good to see Adam Meeker back as well. Something I did recognise the name before the broadcast. And certainly Reese reminded me just how potent he was in Season 1 in the BMW M2. But I guess we should probably... I believe we've got a schedule we can look out for this one. We should probably take a quick look at the schedule, see where indeed we've been. So, ladies and gentlemen, round 1 for Season 3B. We started with the LMP3 at Interlagos, probably one of the busiest race starts we've ever seen here on Pit Road Productions, with round 2 taking us to Road America for the Formula 4. Round 3, definitely a very interesting combination indeed. We had a Pro 2 Light, ladies and gentlemen, at Hockenheim before indeed taking us to today's event at Snetterton 100 in the Legends. I've got to say, interesting combination. I'm very much looking forward to next season as well. Certainly, we're not going to spoil what the car indeed is going to be, but we know on the inside here, we do have a little bit of inside information here. Definitely nothing we're going to share at this point. But Reese, what would be your thoughts about what's coming up next season?
Oh, well, if your hinting is anything to go by, certainly I'm not aware personally. Yeah, a return potentially to a single car over a variety of road courses. That would be my guess, but I'm more than prepared to be wrong. I did enjoy this little experiment that we got with Season 3B of a different car and track for every round.
Yeah, definitely. So I can tell you it is indeed going to be a single car, and the top split alone will be running it. It's going to be a little bit more challenging, ladies and gentlemen, but we're definitely not going to give you any more spoilers. Certainly, Rob's actually made a good suggestion as well. That would be a good idea, but let's maybe take a quick peek at these guys out on the track for now, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly, Snetterton 100. Very rare. I don't think I've ever commentated on a race at Snetterton, and certainly not at the 100 layout. Definitely one of the smaller ones that you were saying. Very small, very tight track. Reese, I know you're a bit more familiar with this. Maybe we could get an onboard lap with one of these gentlemen here.
Absolutely. Well, Gian Morandini across the start-finish line here with a fast left-hander to begin the lap, I believe. I think this is the beginning of the lap. Basically, this circuit is the infield of Snetterton circuit. So they use the little infield tour that they have on the full layout of the track, but they cut off the entries and exits back onto the main layout of the track. So basically what you've got is a track of 6 turns and just under a mile in length, 1.58 kilometers. Yeah, it's over in a flash. 47.7 seconds is the current fastest lap by Ian Joyner, and Gian Morandini I believe, coming across the line. I'm still not exactly sure where the start-finish line is on this circuit, but I'm sure we'll learn in just a few moments' time. Looks like he may have Mika just crossed it, I believe. So, well, we will see how the drivers start here today, but it's got all those typical Snetterton sort of foibles. It's very flat. It's got barely any elevation change, flat curbs as well. You can use a lot of those curbs as well, especially in these Legends cars. Really love rotating on the throttle. These are fantastic little machines. I actually had the pleasure of being at Wanneroo Raceway today for the supercars round, and one of the support categories is Aussie racing cars, which is pretty similar to these beasts.
Definitely sounds like something I would very much enjoy. They do actually have the Legends cars out here in Nova Scotia as well, but sadly, we've not been able to convince them to come around the road course, which honestly is disappointing. Let's give a little bit of a recap over these cars, ladies and gentlemen. So you're probably thinking, wow, these things sound incredibly high-pitched. Now, why would that be? It's fair to say these things do not have a V8, not even a V6, not even a four-cylinder, ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed a motorcycle engine, which, okay, you're putting that in a car, that surely it's not going to have the torque. Well, the Legends cars are so light, they does indeed make for a very fun racing combination. You can see there, redlining about 11,000 RPM.
Yeah, absolutely cracking little engines, these things, and they do move these cars. They're only about 500 kilos in weight or thereabouts from what data I can gather. But yeah, they put the power to the ground through treaded tires, so you know there is plenty of grip, but not as much as you would expect. And of course, as you can plainly see, there is no downforce on these things. It's all mechanical grip, so it all comes down to the driver. They're basically oversized front engine go-karts is probably how I describe them.
Yeah, definitely, and certainly I'm pretty much in. I enjoy driving a go-kart. I do find the lines in a go-kart indeed a little bit different here, but certainly I'd say that, I mean, these cars, they've got their own little niche, their own little talent driving them, I'd say. Certainly, I do find you've got to be so careful when applying the throttle. If you just give it a little bit too much, where it's such a short wheelbase, like, finding the limit has been incredibly challenging. Don't get me wrong, these drivers are all a lot quicker than me. Actually, let's have a quick little highlight on that, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see there, doing a little bit of qualifying. So right now, Ian Joyner, he's top of the food chain. His I rating just short of 4,600, ladies and gentlemen. It's fair to say he is indeed potent, not just in the league, but indeed in the iRacing officials as well. And then we've got different ends of the spectrum as well. We've got Jeremy Childers. He's rocking about 1,900, 1,929. Definitely still a decent I rating, but able to hang up there with these guys. He's currently in third place. But Reese, an interesting thing, where this is an open qualifying session, I have a feeling you're picking up exactly what these drivers are doing in terms of a strategy.
Yeah, for sure. They're trying to get a bit of slipstream, and these cars, well, obviously, I'm talking more about the circuit here. The straights aren't so long as to really provide the full benefit of the slipstream, but they're long enough that you can get at least a whisper of it, and it can improve your lap time. Basically, this track is all about getting that straight line speed, the traction off of these corners, and making sure that you have a car that's good on turning as well, because that last turn there, the hairpin that sort of links the infield circuit together, is one of the tightest corners on iRacing. I think the only tighter corners are basically the last hairpin at Long Beach, for example.
Indeed, very valid points there from Reese. But I can tell you, I'm keeping an eye on the Swelio Almeida stream, and I can tell you Swelio is currently saying hi from the pit lane here at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. So we're obviously going to wish him the very best of luck, and as I put it, be safe, have fun, and go, kick some ass, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we're going to hope for Swelio. Certainly wishing him the best of luck in his IMSA career. If he is able to get in the Discord, we wouldn't mind seeing hi, check in with him, see how he's doing. But right now, I'd say the second crowd favourite, ladies and gentlemen, because realistically, Swelio is the man. Leon Benvelsen, he's here, and we do indeed have his support posse here in the chat. Great to see them back. But I do believe Leon was missing from the trucks. Correct me if I'm wrong there, Reese, but definitely good to see him back. Currently riding in 4th place for the number 23.
I am not able to correct you because I was also missing from that
Oh, we had
race.
Kyle, didn't we, again?
Yeah. I had a conflict, so I couldn't make it. But Rob is saying in the background, Leon indeed was not there for the previous round. So it's good to see him back here for the last round of Season 3B. Currently 4th in qualifying with 4 minutes to go. And there's a good few laps remaining on the clock for these guys. Plenty of opportunities to improve. But, I mean, Ian Joyner's 47.6 that he has improved to, oh dear, has... it certainly looks like something that the drivers are going to have trouble beating. Next closest lap time, Morandini 2/10 back.
Yeah, good to see Morandini in here as well. Definitely, he was actually the fastest in practice. So I do wonder if he can indeed take Joyner off that top step in qualifying right now. If he just gets a good draft, and you can see all of these guys. They are completely aware of the fact that the draft does indeed make such a difference. Currently doing about 90 mile an hour down there. Definitely, that's a lot in such a small car, ladies and gentlemen. Very, very, very potent indeed. And I actually have had the pleasure of sitting in one of these, ladies and gentlemen. Years ago now, my old man actually, we had a friend who was a used car dealer, and he took one of these on trade as a fixer-up project. And yeah, we ended up getting it running in the garage. And as you do, ladies and gentlemen, you drive it up and down the subdivision. And it's fair to say that day it was absolutely pouring with rain. The old man got soaked, and it did not have a windscreen. It had what looked like chicken wire. What a fun memories, ladies and gentlemen. Fun memories. These are the things that really define your interest in motorsport.
Absolutely, that's a great story. Oh, Michael Dowden here is telling a good story at the moment. He recently improved to 3rd in qualifying, managing to get within 0.02 of a second of John Morandini's time. Bit of a late apex there for the final hairpin. There's the start-finish line. See those cones by the sides of the circuit? That is where the start-finish line is for this track. And that means that off the start, there's going to be a very short run into turn 1. You're basically going to be turning as soon as you get on the power.
That could be interesting. Maybe it could be a relief here that we have a 13-car grid. Certainly, I was actually encouraging to see if we could merge a couple of the splits, see if we have a 20 or 30-car grid. It may have been a little bit chaotic, certainly, definitely a little bit of a difference in pace between a couple of the splits there, but I'm all for it, ladies and gentlemen, definitely. You know what? And sometimes as well, it's one of those things where if you run against a faster driver, often you can, the light bulb does indeed just come on a little bit, and all of a sudden, you can find yourself having a little bit more pace. Or indeed, it can indeed go the other way, where it's absolute chaos, panic, and disorder. But saying that, anytime I take the track, it certainly is a huge possibility, as Michael Dowden has managed to sneak his way up onto the 2nd spot, ladies and gentlemen.
Very nicely done from Michael Dowden. He's found some late improvements here in the session. The Legends car actually received a pretty significant physics and tyre update in one of the previous builds, I think just a few months ago. I've heard a lot of people raving about how amazing it is to drive now. One thing that is going to come with that new physics set is the tyres will take a bit more time to sort of bring in and get up to temperature. So you're seeing drivers go for multiple lap runs here, and they'll be setting their fastest times very late on in the session. We'll see if there's any improvements from Adam Mika this time around. Only 50 seconds left on the timer. If you haven't started your final lap right now, you're probably not going to get it in, because this is a multi-race session. And so once the clock hits 0, everyone's just booted straight off, to my knowledge.
It certainly is. We've been indeed learning and indeed involving, ladies and gentlemen, that if it is a multiple race session, it's a hard cut-off there. As I see Garrett Lund go to the pits in qualifying, but he's currently there in P4. Definitely, actually, one of the drivers who I do feel definitely deserves a win. He's been caught with a little bit of bad luck there. But actually, while we've got the camera on Sammy Hendricks, if you're wondering who took the photos for that thumbnail, the pictures of the Legend car, ladies and gentlemen, it was this guy, Mr. Sammy Hendricks. A huge thank you to him for getting that sorted out.
Yeah, absolutely. Hendricks has done a lot for the Almeida Racing League. And there we go. There's the hard cut. Qualifying is over, and our pole sitter is Ian Joyner. Excellent job from Ian, the First of our many drivers here. Here's the grid. So, Joyner and Dowden on the front row. John Morandini has Garrett Lund for company on row 2. Leon Bentvelsen starts in 5th alongside Jeremy Childers, with Thomas Niemanen and Abdul Rahman Mahmood on the 4th row of the grid. Mika and Adrian round out your top 10. Then it's going to be Sammy Hendricks and our coaches Brian Lockwood and Kane Halliburton making their way through from the back of the grid.
Yeah, definitely going to be interesting to see how the coaches handle this car as well. It's definitely it's a unique beast here in the iRacing selection. And I got to say, I personally really enjoy it. Definitely, you need to stay in that draft. So I do wonder. Actually, that's another point here. My testing of the Legend car, there is one thing I did find it was particularly potent at, and come to think of it, the driver of the number 8 car will be very much on board with this. Ladies and gentlemen, Sammy Hendricks. Now, if I say Sammy Hendricks, Reese, where do you think I'm going with this? We know that this driver is not afraid to do this, and we've seen him do it in an open cockpit, open Formula car. Where am I heading with this, Reese?
Last of the late breakers?
Close. Bump drafting. Bump drafting. I have a feeling that we may indeed see a good bit of bump drafting here, because if you lose the pack, you lose that draft, you are at a severe disadvantage. So if you want to make positions in the outright race, I do wonder if we're going to see a little bit of tactical bump drafting here going on.
Yeah, there's potential for that. We'll have to see if they end up getting big gaps early on, because then it'll be very hard to actually catch back up, but we will wait and see. For the time being, just 10 seconds remaining on the grid timer, and all the drivers have loaded onto the grid. Ian Joyner versus Michael Dowden on the front row, and we'll be going for a pace lap behind the iRacing Porsche safety car.
Yeah, definitely. I see what you mean about turn 1. I got a feeling this indeed is going to be very, very busy here. It's Kane Halliburton, definitely one of the best headshots he's got going. Well played there by Kane. I could do against some professional photos, but to be fair, I don't know anybody who's prepared to write off their camera in the process, ladies and gentlemen. Bit of self-deprecating humour here at Pit Road Productions, and if I don't do it, my colleagues will indeed do it for me. As you see, Kane Halliburton making his way at the back of the grid. I've got to say, very interesting paint on one of those coaches' cars, actually. Very colourful indeed.
Yeah, interesting. Looks like maybe his trading paints didn't load properly. Yeah, I definitely see some artifacts of a TGA file that has been sort of misplaced on the car. Rob's going to try and fix that in the background. Rest of them are indeed running those spec Almeida liveries and choosing a variety of colours this season. Previously running in teams by colour. Now the drivers can choose whatever they want for Season 3B. We've only got a couple of turns remaining here. We're going to be getting going for the race start, and Ian Joyner is done with that start. He immediately gets the lead and protects it into turn 1. Bentvelsen and Childers going side by side through the first corner, and Joyner immediately defensive. Here comes Michael Dowden on the racing line.
Oh, this is going to be an absolute belter. And you know what? People often overlook the Legends car. And I've got to say, I don't know why. It's a small car, it's potent, it's nimble. And look how close this pack already is. Everybody here, the biggest gap I can see, 0.7 of a second. Looks like Kevin Adrian is going side by side with somebody, I guess, as he is indeed battle back for P8. Because we're currently looking at the lead battle, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. Thank you, Rob. See Kevin Adrian going side by side with Abdul Rahman Mahmood, and he's managed to get that done. Looks like Kane Halliburton trying to make his way up through the grid as well. Not yet now done. That's a very brave move from Halliburton, and he's not just done 1, 2, but he's going for 3 cars in 1 corner. The set of on this driver, cojones, well saved, Bruce. The set of cojones on this driver, that was pretty baller, I gotta say.
Yeah, well, Kane's certainly testing the limits of the braking of the Legends car there. As a move ahead, Lockwood and Adrian trading spots through the hairpin. That was a very nice cutback there from Kevin Adrian, catching Lockwood out on the exit as they make their way through Hamilton Corner. And now Halliburton's right on the back of this pack. Look at how deep Halliburton is going on the brakes here. This is insane. He's pushing those limits like no one else out there.
Absolutely, I've got to say, he's almost taking like a little bit of an alternate line there. Oh, we've got a little bit of carnage further back. It's the odd man out. At least that's his switch handle, ladies and gentlemen. Abdul Rahman Mahmood getting a little bit caught up there. Let's have a closer look to see what happened. I believe he got a little bit of a nudge.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't realize the number 8 was there. That's Sammy Hendricks, ladies and gentlemen, and indeed ends up getting a little bit caught up. So that's going to put him back out away from the rest of the pack. He's going to have a hard time catching up, ladies and gentlemen. The draft indeed very potent in these Legends cars.
Yeah, I'd call that more of a bonk, to be honest, that Hendricks did on Mahmood there, but no harm, no foul.
Oh!
Everyone's still running, but Morandini,
oh
dear, Halliburton collects him. Sprawled across the racing line, and things are getting worse. That's Garrett London, Brian Lockwood that have come together there, and Halliburton looks like he's had a problem as well. Oh dear, they've all escaped back to the pits there. Both of our coaches plus Garrett Lund on board here with Halliburton. The spin, and okay. Halliburton was probably hoping that the car would stay still, but it started rolling forward, and that's a massive, massive smash there. Garrett Lund immediately with too much damage to continue. So we have lost 4 of our 13 cars there, only 9 still running. Ian Joyner and Michael Dowden have left Leon Benvelsen in the dust.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it started as a race, and now it may indeed have turned to the Hunger Games. Certainly it is indeed the survival of the fittest, but right now this is one of the spiciest battles we've got going on. It's been Ian Joyner and Michael Dowden. Certainly good to have Dowden back here, the New Jersey driver, rocking that number 4. Definitely, of all the combos as well, the Legends car, again, is so underestimated, and it's disappointing to see that more people don't drive it. It's so much fun, ladies and gentlemen. And you can see Dowden right there in the draft. These guys have been able to hold on to P1 and P2 respectfully, and I've got to say, fantastic start from Ian Joyner. You can see Leon Benvelsen actually a little bit behind there. He's up 2 spots as well. Thomas Niemanen, he was definitely a very potent driver in the trucks, the Finland driver himself. And you see he's actually going side by side now with Jeremy Childers, as Childers not quite able to get it done.
Yeah, Childers just backing out of that one, it seems. Thought about a move. It's very difficult to actually get the line right through that right-hander. The curb is very misleading. It looks like you might be able to take all of it, but yeah, you're not quite able to. It might hit you with a slowdown if you're not careful. But, I mean, these laps are just flying by at the moment. This is insane pace that these drivers have here, as Hendricks was very deep there through turn 1, and he is right on the back of Kevin Adrian now. Adrian obviously goes defensive. Hendricks deciding, no, I'm not going to bump draft here. I'm going to brake as late as I dare on the outside and get shuffled wide, only for Adrian to spin, and Adam Meeker to get his nose in there as well. Oh, no. Well, another one bites the dust there.
Another one bites the dust. Sorry.
Yes, John Morandini, I was going to say, has gotten back out. He only spent 26 seconds in the pit box there, I believe, getting damage repaired. He is a lap down on our leaders, but he has managed to get back out there, at least circulate and get some points from this first race.
If I remember rightly, Reese, I do believe there is indeed an invert grid for this, and if so, P10 might be a very good place to be. That could potentially put him in P1. Definitely. Oh, hang on a second here. We got a comment here from Matt Larkin. He's going to be a Benvelsen supporter today. Add me to the long list. Hi guys, I'm doing the N24 race right now. Fair play. So I couldn't do the race, but nice to watch live. Matt Larkin, thank you for joining the chat.
Nice.
And good to see another support actually for Leon Benvelsen. I've got to say, this man knows how to promote PRP.
Absolutely. He's quickly become one of our star competitors here, and we only see him in this one league. Let's see if he can race in a couple of the other leagues we broadcast here. Well, for now, he's running well in third. It's a quiet race for Leon. He's far behind these two. Joyner versus Dowden, there's basically nothing between them. They're practically matching each other every single lap. It's going to take something special from Dowden here to really pull this off.
I do wonder if he's actually waiting for the last opportunity to make that pass. Certainly, you know, Ian Joyner, he's going to be a well-respected driver in this league. Michael Dowden, definitely no slouch on the other hand as well. But right now, they're pulling away from the field. They've got about a 4-second gap. If they start fighting, that gap will very quickly diminish.
Yeah, certainly will. And I think they're well aware of that. They don't want to be, passing at every single opportunity and trading spots and cutting underneath each other on the exits and whatever, because that will just cost you lap time. And Ben Velzen is only running a few tenths of a second slower than these two. If they eliminate that advantage by battling, then it's game over. So we'll see what they can do. Nieminen versus Childers, meanwhile. Battle for fourth continuing here. Late on the brakes for the tight right-hander that opens out. It's a bit of a double right, really, into the final hairpin. It's so tight through there. You're basically on full lock just to get around it. And slowest speeds on the circuit as well. Straight into the highest speed corner on the circuit at turn 1. For the moment, it looks like Nieminen has Childers sorted out. He's focusing on those exits and keeping it nice and stable. But here comes Childers. He's having a look up the inside. A bit of a psychological game being played there, but it seems Nieminen is a tough nut to crack.
But it looks like Reese has got an eye on Nieminen and Childers. I've got an eye on Hendricks and Mika. Both of these guys are going very much close together. I do wonder, can Mika make the move? He's dropped back to about 4 tenths of a second, 3 tenths of a second now. Is he going to be able to make a move on this novice coach? Certainly Sammy Hendricks, he's been around the Almeida Rating League for a while, but that does not necessarily relate to race pace. And certainly we've seen the incredible pace from Adam Mika. Certainly in the M2, he was indeed a potent driver. Definitely these legends on the smaller side. That hood almost looks like it's made out of a cardboard box at this point, ladies and gentlemen. But indeed, it is a little bit stronger. And I do wonder if we could see some bump drafting from these drivers. The opportunity is there. If these guys want to catch up and maybe start contending for P4, Hendricks and Mika could indeed work together to catch up to Nieminen and Childers.
Here comes the first little hint of a battle. Proper battle between Joyner and Dowden. Saw Ian have to go defensive there. Dowden really gaining on him there at the apex, but you see what Joyner's doing there. This hairpin, that hairpin that ends the lap, it's one of those corners where, yeah, you can take the normal sort of arcing line through it, but it's often better if you get that rotation done sort of mid-corner and then just power out in a straight line. It gets you a great exit down the straight. Have a look at how late Dowden is on the brakes. A bit too late, I think. He does recover it nicely, making a late apex out of the corner, but he'll need to be careful not to brake too late next time.
Yeah, definitely. It's a lot of momentum you got to try and think about in these Legends cars, and the draft, I do find, does definitely give you a good bit of forgiveness there. As you see, Ian Joyner and Michael Dowden are still indeed going at it. I do wonder, has Dowden got an answer to Ian Joyner? We know that Joyner's been potent not only in the M2, but in the F1600 especially. I had first-hand experience of that. That man can wheel that open-wheel car. But the Legends, don't get me wrong, it is like a sports car, but it's pretty close to an open wheel in some ways. It's a tube frame chassis, ladies and gentlemen. The body panels are just loosely bolted on there. I say loosely, you get the idea. They're more of an afterthought, ladies and gentlemen. You could run these without the body panels at all. And I do wonder, is he going to be able to transfer them open wheel skills to this little bit of a hybrid between the two?
Yeah, I would say that the Legends car is probably a sort of mini Trans Am TA2 car or something like that. Yeah, vehicles like that you can fit different body panels on it if you want, but mechanically they're all the same, and it really makes no difference. It's all a spec category. Those kinds of categories often produce some of the best racing and some of the most spectacular cars. I mean, I saw TA2 live today at Wanneroo, and they absolutely knocked my socks off. I'm sure if I saw these in real life, they'd do exactly the same thing. What is for sure is it produces some great racing, very tight racing here between Joyner and Dowden, and it seems like Dowden is very strong in this part of the circuit here. There he goes again, trying the outside, and he almost gets some overlap there on Ian Joyner, but not quite enough.
It is indeed the 14 versus the 4. You see a little bit of sliding there from Dowden in behind Ian Joyner. Can he get the move done? He's definitely applying. And let's actually keep an eye on the steering inputs as well. I do wonder if this is one of those cars where you give it like a little bit of flick, try and move the weight, and then indeed counter steer out of it a little bit. It's kind of like the Mustang, the FR500S. I mean, this thing's got a solid rear axle, I believe. So certainly it's You know, it is not necessarily going to handle as you would be used to like a GT3 car, GT4, where they would have the independent suspension. You do almost steer with the throttle with these things a little bit, and certainly once the tires heat up, it can be a very, very fun car indeed. Imagine this little thing, it's pretty small, about the same size of a golf cart, but with a huge set of meats on the back, and not only that, running slicks.
Yeah, indeed. It's be a very potent package indeed. Adam Mika, meanwhile, number 5. He's still keeping up with Sammy Hendricks here. And I love these aerial views, especially at a short circuit, because they really give you an idea of what the driver's actually doing behind the wheel. Keep an eye on the lines into turn 1 here. Yeah, you see Mika delayed his turn in just a little bit there. It's allowed him to straighten the run out of the corner and get some momentum on Sammy Hendricks, and the inside has been left open by the number 8. How deep does Adam Mika dare go? Side by side on the way in. Oh, good speed through the corner for the both of them, but Mika comes out ahead.
Really good pass there, but it looks like Hendricks is not having it. He's already there up on the inside. Is he going to make it stick? They go side by side, and it looks like that's John Morandini behind him. He's there, but not for position. It's the 5 versus the 8. Mika versus Hendricks. Who's going to emerge victorious? Mika currently ahead. Hendricks looking to fight back. The nearest competition behind him is Kevin Adrian. He's a good couple of seconds back, about 7.5 seconds back, as it looks like we got more action happening here with Jeremy Childers and Thomas Nieminen.
Yeah, actually, looks like they've lost time to Adam Mika and Sammy Hendricks. Something may or may not have gone on there. A little bit of a swap for position between the two. Here comes... Oh! Bit of contact between the two of them. Oh, Adam Mika and Sammy Hendricks, tensions starting to boil over there. Hendricks, of course, is a big fan of getting his nose in, as we've seen in many previous races of the Almeida Racing League. Just an ever so slight tap. I'm sure that both of them will be thanking whatever days he may be out there for that little bumper bar on the back.
Yeah, well, certainly with these Legends cars, you can indeed push a lot, and I want to see these drivers do that a bit more. If anybody is going to be the bump drafting master here, my money would indeed be on Sammy Hendricks. He's certainly not been able to apply that yet. This guy was bump drafting in a Formula 4 going down the front straight of Road America. If he can do it in that, he can definitely do it in a Legends car.
Yeah, he certainly can. He just needs to really get in touch with Adam Mika there. On board with Childers now as he tries to grab the position from Thomas Nieminen. We only have 30 seconds or so remaining on the race clock. Ian Joyner and Michael Dowden have just started the final lap of the race. So the tensions are going to start getting to a fever pitch for these battles we're seeing throughout this field. And, well, let's see if Dowden will be able to pull a move up the inside here in the final few corners of the race.
Definitely, he's running out of time if he wants to make this stick. I think he's a little bit too far back at this point, about 0.3 of a second. But he did gain a good bit there, got a 10th back off of Joyner. But on the exit, can he keep that going? It's going to be down at the airpin. Joyner absolutely slamming the brakes on the inside corner. He definitely played that defensively, and I think it's going to pay off for him as we're looking for the checkered flag. I did just see the cones there, and yep, Ian Joyner's got it. Let's head back very quickly to Nieminen and Childers. These guys are going hard at it as well. And it looks like a similar tactic approach, and it looks like another battle happening as well with Mika and Hendrick. All of these guys very much parking it on the inside line there before they head down the start-finish.
Yeah, there was practically no speed at all there from Nieminen and Childers through there. Big old park on the apex. Kevin Adrian crosses the line to finish in 8th, and it looks like our last driver to cross the line is Abdul Rahman Mahmoud. But crucially, John Morandini finishing in 10th place. That is going to give him pole for this second race coming up here. So, shame that we lost Garrett Lund, Kane Halliburton, and Brian Lockwood. But Halliburton and Lockwood would have been starting from the rear of the grid anyway for race 2. So, I guess it all works out for them there.
Indeed. So, let's have a look at these race results for the first one of the afternoon, morning, or evening, wherever you may be. Ladies and gentlemen, Ian Joyner took the win, narrowly from Michael Dowden in second. Leon Bentbelsen, the crowd favourite, was there in third. Thomas Niemann, and he was there in fourth, with Jeremy Childers certainly giving him a run for his money in fifth. Adam Meeker and Sammy Hendricks, great battle there for sixth and seventh, with Kevin Adrian closing out in P8, and Abdulrahman Mahmood in ninth, with John Morandini in 10th. Garrett Lund, Kane Halliburton, and Brian Lockwood closing out your first grid. First results.
Well, take that top 10 and flip it. And that is your top 10 for race 2. So Morandini is going to be starting on pole position with Mahmood alongside him. Adrian and Hendricks on the second row, with Mika and Childers on row 3. Neiman and Bentvelsen, Dowden and Joyner will round out your top 10 for the Heat 2 start. This is going to be another 15-minute race, but there's a lot of pressure on the drivers up the front here. Remember, Morandini, though, he started race 1 in third. So on pace, he should be competitive for a podium. It'll be up to him here to defend the lead.
Yeah, definitely. It's a good place to be. Certainly, I'm not gonna dismiss any of these drivers. Actually, all of these very, very potent behind the wheel. Abdulrahman Mahmood, he definitely got caught short in the last race. But starting in P2, is this going to be the opportunity he needed? Kevin Adrian, again, another potent driver, especially in an F1600 as well. I do wonder, having this little bit of this higher grid starting position, is this going to work in his favor? Is he going to be able to break away from the grid, or are we indeed going to see a 3, maybe even a 4 wide race start?
Oh, I'm certainly hoping that we get some 3 or 4 wide here. The cars are certainly small enough for it.
Well, I've got to say, it's interesting as well how it varies, ladies and gentlemen. If you are on the track, you're hoping for a very small, very civilized, single file, 2 wide start. However, if you're in the broadcast booth, the shoe flips, ladies and gentlemen. If you guys go 3, 4, even 5 wide, we will not just tell the world about it. We will encourage you to do so. It makes great entertainment. It's certainly great racing indeed. As that's going to be up to John Morandini and indeed Abdulrahman Mahmood. These guys are going to be on the front row. What's it going to end up being emerging at? I do reckon that we're going to see a couple of people making a few optimistic moves on this first lap.
With just a few seconds remaining for the race start, have you noticed the design pattern on these cars? They've got pictures of food. Those are those little spots that you see on the liveries. I see a sub sandwich. I see lettuce. I see tomato. Yeah, that's pretty cool. In any case, we're just about ready to get this race going. And maybe we'll get some close-up angles so we can get our mouths watering, not just from the racing, but from the potential for sustenance. Up comes the lights, and we'll be getting ready for this pace lap.
Well, definitely. I do wonder if Swallow has managed to find a fruit and veg sponsor, or indeed maybe Subway would like to come on board. I mean, they sponsored Happy Gilmore. Don't get me wrong, the man is a legend, but I do wonder if they'd like to expand into racing. Definitely, I'd be down for that, ladies and gentlemen. And if I remember rightly, Subway did actually sponsor a NASCAR for a little while as well. It's fair to say, though, when takeout goes, a pretty healthy option depending on what you have, but they got the image of being healthy, ladies and gentlemen. And certainly racing, I find, is a very healthy interest for a hobby, or indeed career or motorsport.
Indeed. Anytime I get Subway, it's always the chicken bacon ranch melt. So don't look to me to be the healthy spokesperson. In any case, getting those tires warmed up, very important here on this formation lap. Also important to get the engine warmed up too. Remember, these are very high revving engines, so the warmer they are, generally the better speed you will get out of them. They've got to be run hard, these motorcycle engines in these cars. Coming up to the hairpin then for the race start. Morandini in the number 2 going to lead us away. Got the number 6 of Abdulrahman Mahmood alongside him, and out of the hairpin puts the power down, and that is a huge start from Morandini. Mahmood already under attack from Kevin Adrian for second. A little bit of a wiggle there from the number 10 as they find their way out of the first turn. Who's going to be the last of the late breakers here? Any big dives from behind? Some doors open to the inside, to the outside as well. That's Childers running especially wide there, and ends up almost 3 wide with Halliburton and Mika on the exit.
Well, Kane Halliburton is very much on the move, ladies and gentlemen. As is Ian Joyner, both of these drivers are up 5 positions. Honestly, I think Childers was just looking to try and survive. He knew he had cars on the inside and wanted to make sure that he did indeed leave plenty of room. But fantastic racing so far. Liam Benthausen, he was the one making an ambitious move there, and it looks like he's going for another one. He's trying to make his way up into 3rd place, and ladies and gentlemen, he's got it. He's got past the number 10 of Kevin Adrian, who is now going to be under attack from Almeida Racing League coach Kane Halliburton.
Halliburton up to 5th by the end of the first lap. That's insane. Niemanen I saw running incredibly wide at the last corner. He's fallen back to 12th as Halliburton gets his next move done, but he's run a bit deep. That allows Kevin Adrian back alongside. I tell you what, the students... Oh, God! That's some contact on the exit there, and Adrian's been sent off into the grass.
I do believe he may have fitted a lawnmower and deck to that Legend car for a second. While it has a bike engine, don't get me wrong, that's definitely not what this thing is designed for. Let's have a quick look. You see there a little bit of a nudge there from Halliburton. It did not look intentional, but thankfully able to keep racing, keeping in the pack as well. He's a bit nearer the back of the pack as he's now got Garrett Lund to contend with.
You know, I think they might have actually touched tyres, because it's not something you immediately notice about the Legends car, but the tyres actually poke out quite far from the fenders. You got to be careful of wheel-to-wheel contact, much like you should be in an open wheeler. So I think that might be what caught Adrian out there. It happened on the front tyre. Actually, it looks like there was maybe a bit of exaggerated contact there as well. Still, regardless, he managed to recover it. Let's see how it looks from here. Oh, yeah, it was tyre-to-tyre contact.
Yeah, definitely, if you get 2 pieces of rubber spinning, and they are indeed going to kick pretty hard, ladies and gentlemen, as it looks like John Morandini has got exactly what he wanted. He is almost at the point where he's broken the stream, trying to make that gap emerge. He's just hovering around a second right now as we're looking to hear from Abdulrahman Mahmoud. He's currently in P2 with Leon Benthausen right behind him. Kane Halliburton's in 4th, up 8 positions, ladies and gentlemen.
Look at I'm amazed that Halliburton is able to go so deep into the corners and carry that momentum. If I tried breaking that late in the Legends car, I'd just be locking up and spearing off. But Halliburton has managed to really gain some confidence in the brakes on this car. I mean, every single corner he's making just ripping gains, just lunging forward under brakes, almost side by side for second. I had to have a couple of goes at the steering there, did Abdulrahman Mahmoud. And just flashing by there in the foreground, you saw absolutely incredible battle for 10th place. Adrian, Lund and Niemanen, they've been trading spots for the last few laps, and it's actually been quite entertaining.
Well, this is exactly the kind of racing I enjoy. I'm all for, swapping positions. That, to me, is much more fun than playing the tactical game. Ladies and gentlemen, don't get me wrong, there's definitely a good merit in certainly, going single file and trying to catch the guys ahead. But as you guys actually would have watched on Monday night, seeing me race against a couple of guys, I didn't think I'd catch the guy ahead, so I was all about the racing. And, it could definitely make for a lot of fun here, as right now, if I have a look, it looks like Morandini has been able to pull away a 1.4 second gap, but his problem now is Kane Halliburton is going to be the next one on the chopping block, looking to try and get ahead and take over that P1. Could this be an opportunity, though, for Abdulrahman Mahmoud? He's currently in P3. Can he tuck in behind the Academy Coach #1 car and slingshot himself all the way up to higher steps on the podium?
That move that Halliburton made around the final hairpin is the first time I've ever seen a move around the outside there. And he pulled it off, which was quite amazing. Here's a replay just showing you how it was done. Halliburton on the racing line, gets on the brakes, and, well, just a nice wide arc, get on the power earlier, and away you go.
Yeah, definitely very well played there. Maybe a little bit more grip on that outside than we originally suspected. But John Morandini, he is able to hold off, at least he is for right now. It looks like Ian Joyner's maybe having a little bit of a battle as well with Adam Mika back in P7. Indeed, it looks like a good battle as well. It was a couple of attempts now. Maybe these guys really getting into it. Yep, there you go, Ian Joyner, ladies and gentlemen. Mika about 4 attempts back. He was a bit closer, but obviously the commentators curse, ladies and gentlemen. As soon as you mention that, they drop back.
Such is the way of sim racing commentary, and I suppose any kind of commentary on a competitive activity. Well, Joyner and Mika will continue fighting, so will Niemanen and Adrian. Garrett Lund has now fallen behind Sammy Hendricks. I saw him pull over to the side when he was battling with Adrian and Niemanen, and potentially got a slowdown somewhere. We'll have to see if he can find his way further forward and get back into that battle for the top 10. Here is the battle between Ben-Velsen and Mahmood. Ben-Velsen showing the nose at turn 1, and he's unsettled Abdul Rahman there. Let's see if the move will be complete at the hairpin here. Ben-Velsen up the inside, gets it done beautifully, and Brian Lockwood sees the opportunity and says, hey, I'm going to take that too.
Yeah, it was almost like, hey guys, look at this, yoink. That's kind of how it went. It's almost like, it reminds me actually of many years ago when I was back in, well, you guys would call it high school, I'd call it secondary school. I don't know what you call it in other parts of the world, but you get the gist, ladies and gentlemen. I'm maybe 13 years old at the time, and our coach is trying to say, look, I want to teach you the crossover. You kind of take the right foot up, over across the ball. They focus on that, and then you boot it away with the left. Well, that's exactly what just happened, and how Brian Lockwood was able to make his way up a couple of spots, and now rocking P3 with Ben-Velsen chasing in hot pursuit right behind him.
Yeah, Lockwood getting the move done on Ben-Velsen as well, but Leon trying to fight back into the left-hander. Nice wide hairpin that. There's plenty of room for racing. Looks like now Lockwood, who holds the fastest lap of the race, by the way, might be starting to drive away from him. Lap times up the front of the field looking interesting too, as Kane Halliburton has caught John Morandini. There's been a problem for Mahmood as well. He's fallen back to 9th as the move is just about complete here for Halliburton, side by side across the line, and he gets the move done into turn 1. Well, the number 1 and number 2 cars are now 1 and 2 in the positions.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're looking for a number 3, I can confirm we don't have one, but the closest we do have is indeed a 13 or a 23, ladies and gentlemen, and they are respectively in 3rd and 4th position. I do wonder, oh, look at that, we do have a number 3. Ladies and gentlemen, my producer showed me how it's done. He's all the way back in 10th, so don't get me wrong, if he can make his way up to 3rd by the end of this race, I will be incredibly impressed.
I will be too. 7 minutes and 10 seconds. It's about 9 laps or so of Snetterton 100. Here's what happened to Mahmood. Okay, so we got out of the corner all right, but under brakes, looks like the rear's locked up a little bit. Maybe he turned in a bit too early while carrying too much brake, and round he went, and unfortunately he's decided to tow the car back to the pits. So we'll see no more of Abdul Rahman Mahmood in this race. For now though, Morandini keeping up with Kane Halliburton. Nice to see.
Apparently Matt Larkin saying Brian is the undercover coach today, so I guess that must be referring to the paints, I guess. I felt sure he had a gold paint today. So, Sally, oh, that almost went wrong. Sammy Hendricks getting a little bit of a tank slapper there as he goes alongside. Definitely able to keep it caught up. It looks like it's Garrett Lund he may be playing with indeed. Certainly both of these drivers have indeed raced before, and look like they're having a lot of fun as well here at Snetterton.
Yeah, they're having quite a nice time here, side by side into the final corner. Let's see if the late apex works out here for Hendricks. And he does carry more momentum out of the corner, but I don't think he'll get alongside in time for turn 1. It's a very short blast there down the start-finish straight of this tiny circuit. But Hendricks gets the run out of the first turn. And on the racing line, under brakes, he moves ahead and can take the inside line. Lovely to see.
Yeah, good clean pass there, but can Garrett Lund fight back? As we're checking here with Michael Dowden. Looks like he's having a little bit of a battle there with Ian Joyner. I do indeed wish him the best of luck. Certainly we saw these two guys going hard at it last round, but can Dowden hold off Ian Joyner? Indeed, the tables have turned, ladies and gentlemen, as Joyner there in the number 14, looking to try and make a move and make his way up into P4.
Well, Joyner has got an awful lot of form to back up here. Took the first race win in grand fashion. Change for second as well. Lockwood's found his way past Morandini now. Or has he? Side by side through the corner. Morandini goes wide and ultimately lets Lockwood take the position. So now our coaches are leading. Boo.
Certainly. Where's Mike Sargent when you need him, ladies and gentlemen? I've got no doubt
Yeah.
he indeed will be doing the iRacing Nürburgring 24-hour. Definitely, I'm all for a good endurance race, but not that one, ladies and gentlemen. It really is survival of the fittest. Let's see the move here between Ian Joyner. Are we watching the move? No, we're back to the race, ladies and gentlemen. Back live again, ladies and gentlemen. As we've seen, Ian Joyner looking to try and get ahead there of Michael Dowden. It's the 4 versus the 14. Joyner there up on the inside. I think just showing a nose. He knows he doesn't have it, but perhaps a distraction there for Michael Dowden. Slightly compromised line. Maybe he just went a little bit too deep, but very much under pressure there from Ian Joyner behind in the number 14.
Oh, knows the nose doesn't know. Or something. I was trying to go somewhere with that sentence, but it didn't end up going anywhere. Ben Velzen is starting to lose time to these guys. Dowden and Joyner running roughly the same times as Ben Velzen on the last lap. And actually, Ben Velzen, I'm going to completely change my statement. He's actually pulled away from them on this lap. It seems that Dowden and Joyner are having too much fun fighting amongst themselves here. Ben Velzen with a 47.8 on the previous lap, and oh, they come together into the hairpin. Ian Joyner sent around, and Jeremy Childers will say, thank you, mate. That position is now mine as well.
Well, he's going to get it for now, but Ian Joyner definitely going to be keen to make his way back up. But here's another thought as well. After having such an incident, there's definitely going to be a little bit of extra heat in those tyres. Let's take a quick look at the replay between Joyner and Dowden. You can see there, that's Joyner on the left side of your screen. Dowden giving a little bit of a squeeze, gets a little bit too close, maybe a little bit of wheel-to-wheel contact there. And Dowden emerges victorious in this scenario. And yeah, good news for Jeremy Childers. Childers, bad news for Ian Joyner, who's now pushed back into 7th place. Oh, contact, Kevin Adrian and Neiman in there.
Wow, okay. Well, see how that worked out between them here. Adrian with a bit of a poor exit from the right-handers, and okay, so yeah, looks like just a little coming together on the exit there, and it's once again front tire versus rear tire contact. Looked like maybe a bit of netcode involved with that as well.
Just thinking definitely a little bit in netcode. You can just see a little bit of a gap. Obviously, Neiman running in Finland, it's fair to say he's a little bit far out. There's a little bit of a tank slapper there from the number 14 of Ian Joyner, able to keep that car in check. That definitely would have been a very tense moment. Jeremy Childers is going to be looking to hold on. I don't think he's going to be trying to chase down Michael Dowden. I think he's going to be more interesting to see if he can indeed keep Ian Joyner firmly behind him.
Room is open to the inside, though. Joyner will dive in under the brakes. And almost clear getting back into 6th. It looks like he's done it on the exit. That's what I love about this circuit. The nature of the corners, it allows you to keep that outside line. Keep yourself alongside the car trying to pass you. Ultimately, though, it's going to come down to who is more confident on the throttle. And it can be difficult to achieve that fine balance in the Legends car. It isn't the most powerful of machines, so you can really push it hard out of the corners, but once it breaks on you, then it's very difficult to recover. You lose a lot of traction.
Absolutely, certainly the limit is indeed a very, very fine line, and it looks like Liam Bentvelsen is going to need to try and get as close to that limit as he can, because he's currently under attack now from Michael Dowden. So Dowden, he's dispensed Joyner and looking to make his way up into P4. John Morandini, he's all the way in P3, about 2 seconds ahead of this pack. Can the pair of them work together? I thought for a second there we were going to see a little bit of bump drafting, but come to think of it, Reese, I do have a feeling that it's just not long enough on the straights there. Bentvelsen giving him the squeeze, and that's not worked out well. Dowden and Bentvelsen make contact. You can see the pace car got a front row seat of that. Bentvelsen spins it around again. And how's this going to re-emerge? Ladies and gentlemen, he emerges behind with a black flag. I think he's just been nailed for an unsafe pit entry. Bentvelsen race destroyed.
Oh no, how it can all go wrong in the space of a few corners there. So number 4 of Dowden, he thought that Bentvelsen would leave the door open, but see, Bentvelsen actually goes into the pit lane there and spins it around to get back out. That's what's given him the black flag there. That's very unfortunate there for Leon.
Definitely very unfortunate, but it looks like Kane Halliburton has indeed taken that race win, celebrating with a little bit of donut in there. Brian Lockwood's going to take second with John Morandini. He's going to be there in third. As we head back to fourth, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be Michael Dowden, ladies and gentlemen. This pack really started to group up. Ian Joyner is going to be in fifth with Jeremy Childers in sixth. And Leon Benthausen, I'm not sure where he's going to end up. That black flag will indeed carry with him, ladies and gentlemen. He's showing it as P7, but I have a feeling that's all going to change once the results finally come through.
Yes, so yeah, Benthausen, because he was given that penalty in the final few laps, he didn't have an opportunity to serve it, so it's added time onto the end of his race. So the results will be as follows. Halliburton, Lockwood and Morandini remain your podium. Dowden and Joyner round out your top 5 with Childers and Mika in 6th and 7th. Adrian, Niemanen and Hendricks will round out your top 10 with Garrett Lund classed ahead of Leon Benthausen, who has been put a lap down in the standings. Abdul Rahman Mahmood is our only retirement from the race. So we've had retirements in both races so far. We'll see how the 20-minute race 3 fares for these drivers. But before we get to all of that, we're in the warm-up and it's time for a little word from Swelio.
The Almeida Racing League is growing fast. Hundreds of drivers, multiple splits, broadcasted races, and it's not just about individual winning, it's a team championship. You race with your own squad, you learn how to compete, and you grow together. And we don't throw you into the races blindly. Every week, we help you prepare with pit parties to train side-by-side battles, workshops with live coaching, 20 driving challenges with full tutorials, and even group raids into official iRacing races after the league night. For just $25 a month, this is the most complete training experience in sim racing. Join us as a member today to start your advanced training and racing with us. I'll see you on track.
Well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We've had 2 races, but don't worry, it's not over yet. We have a third one to go. I see Reese has now been, he's divorced from Kyle Mills, ladies and gentlemen. He's now back to being Reese, the Southpaw racer car. Certainly a little bit of fun there in the production booth, and my sympathy to Kyle. I hope he got the computer in the divorce there. But my sympathy to Reese as well, as we have these funny little jokes here. Reese trying to work out what just happened. Certainly, it's been some interesting racing so far, and we do find that the 20-minute one, going off past experience, the temperature gauge does indeed start to go up, not necessarily with the track temperature, but indeed the spice of the racing. Certainly, these guys will be not looking to hold back and get even more involved, and definitely going to be in an interesting grid as well. We're going to see these guys definitely challenge and contend. I think anybody could realistically win it, though, with the draft being just so potent in these cars. I do wonder, are we going to start to see some bump drafting as well?
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm honestly not sure. I find that a lot of the moves that we've had tonight have largely been due to crossover moves, you know, getting the wider line on the way in for the narrower line out and straight lining the exit for more momentum. I find that's what we've gotten most of our racing from. You mentioned track temperature. It's pretty middle of the road as far as iRacing track temperatures go, about 32 degrees Celsius and air temperature 21. So it's a nice cool day there in Snetterton. I suppose cool by Australian standards anyway.
Yeah, definitely. So interesting actually. That track temp's 32 degrees. That's not that cold considering the track temp's 21. It's definitely it's warmer than I expected. So I do wonder if these guys are going to start to feel a little bit of tire degradation there. Certainly, Legends I do tend to see do shorter races. I'd say 15-20 minutes they should be fine. But certainly I do wonder how far you could push that envelope. Obviously not a very big fuel tank in these things either as well. It looks like we've got Jeremy Childers out there doing a couple of little practice laps before we go live for race 3.
Yeah, Childers getting some mileage in. 48.0 there from Jeremy. That's some of the fastest laps that he's run all night. So he's looking pretty good as far as things go there. But he is going to be starting race 3 from 6th place. So he does need to take care there. And in fact, Halliburton and Lockwood, they did finish 1 and 2, our coaches here. I'm wondering if they'll go to the back of the grid for this final race. Sometimes they've done it, sometimes they haven't. So that could be 2 free positions for everyone else right off the start. So find our way through to the final few seconds of the warm-up session. Childers improving there to a 47.8. That's getting up towards qualifying pace there for Jeremy. Let me just check back through his lap times here. So his fastest in practice was a 48.0, 47.9 in quali. The first race a 47.9. And in race 2 a 47.7. So he's been steadily getting faster all event. Well, I'm hoping that we'll see a bit more from Jeremy Childers here. I love these blimp shots of the circuit. They really give you a sense for how incredibly small this place is. Well, can Childers get across the line before the time runs out? Ah, only just getting to the line there. As we'll get ready for race 3. 20 minutes on the cards here in the grid set by the results of race 2. Halliburton and Lockwood are your front row, but we'll see if that changes on the formation lap. Morandini and Dowden on row 2 with Ian Joyner and Jeremy Childers 5th and 6th. Adam Mika and Kevin Adrian will be 7th and 8th with Niemanen and Hendricks rounding out your top 10. Then we have Lund, Bentvelsen and Mahmood rounding out our 13-car field for the final race of the Almeida Racing League Season 3B. Well, we shall see the moves that are potentially to be made for Morandini in particular. We have Ian Joyner, who worked his way from 10th up to 5th in race 2. It was a good run from Joyner, even though it had a couple of bumps in the road along the way. Could potentially have finished on the podium if he hadn't had his spin. So let's see what kind of pace he can turn out in that number 14, and if he can avoid any carnage in the opening laps. Bentvelsen is looking for a recovery, as well as Mahmood from the back of the grid. Away they go then.
Definitely going to be interesting to see how this one turns out. And Kane Halliburton starting actually in P1 is a bit of a surprise, I've got to say. Oh, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. That's much better. I think he will indeed clear everyone's black flags at the start of the race, because iRacing not really calibrated to handle such scenarios. You can see Brian Lockwood, he's there as well, going to be hanging out at the back. Now, I do wonder if we could see a little bit of coach-on-coach action as well. That would definitely be fun. But good news here for John Morandini. He's going to get to start at the front of the pack yet again.
Yes, indeed. Well, started from the front in race 2, start from the front in race 3. For the record, Halliburton and Lockwood have given themselves end-of-line penalties, so I don't think that's going to give everyone else a black flag. So we'll see how that works out.
Yeah, hopefully that does indeed sort it out as well. As we see, these guys are kind of trying to get a little bit of heat in the tyres. Michael Dowden and Ian Joyner, we've seen these guys battling throughout the racing today. I do wonder how that's going to play out. Morandini, I got a feeling it's going to be like the third wheel in that scenario. But I do wonder if a couple of these drivers can make their way up through the field. Kevin Adrian definitely had a little bit of bad luck today. Garrett Lund as well. I do wonder if these drivers can indeed capitalise that, as they are indeed go. And it looks like Michael Dowden already looking to try and challenge for P1.
Yeah, I saw that Dowden was alongside Morandini more than anyone had been alongside the leader at the start. And he's going to try around the outside here at turn 2, but it looks like there's just no grip out there at the moment. He's trying to cross under, though. What can he do at Hamilton? Not much, it seems. Has to stay behind. But Joyner has worked his way up to 3rd, practically instantly there. And we'll see if he can pressure these guys ever further. This is looking like a stunning battle emerging already for the lead of this race.
Yeah, definitely actually lots of battles happening throughout. Keeping an eye out on the positions gained right now. And for the majority, they've gained 2 positions. As I say that, something's happened to Garrett Lund. I've just seen him absolutely catastrophically fall through the order. Not sure what happened. Maybe a little bit of cold tyre scenario, but the number 30 car, definitely not the start he was looking for. You see there, he's up on the inside. A little bit of a twitch there on the corner exit. Let's see exactly what happened as he heads down into the left-hander. Leon Bentvelsen on the inside makes contact, and number 6 car, Abdul Rahman Mahmood, gets caught in that as well.
Yeah, unlike Bentvelsen in race 2, Mahmood managed to keep it out of pit lane there as he made his way around the incident. It's on for the lead. Oh, Dowden trying up the inside of Morandini at the right-hander. The only real significant right-hander on the entire lap. And oh no! Wide goes Morandini into the grass. He's going to slip back to 4th, back to 5th, maybe back to 6th if Adam Mika has anything to say about it, but no. It's covered off by the number 2 of Morandini.
Yeah, definitely he was looking for an opportunity there. Morandini already fighting back now against Kevin Adrian. Adrian just ahead. You can see there the number 10 with the red roof, red rails as Morandini takes to the inside. Adam Mika right behind looking to capitalize on this opportunity. Going side by side. They are indeed going to drop back ahead. Jeremy Childers currently in P3. That's a fantastic result for him, ladies and gentlemen. Good stuff for him. If he can keep hold of it, it's a 20-minute race with 18 minutes left to go.
Oh, and already some hard racing there for the positions behind Morandini. Adrian trying to protect here from Adam Mika, and very deep from behind from Thomas Nieminen in the number 3. This is going to be the tightest battle pack we've seen yet. 4 cars covered by practically nothing, and they've got the coaches catching up to them. Halliburton is dragging Benfelsen and Lockwood with him.
Yeah, certainly if you're going to tie yourself to a car to try and slipstream up through the field, I'd say the Halliburton is definitely the best candidate if you can stay with him. Don't get me wrong, that has its own challenges. When as I see Canada cutting edge, that's Clovis Girard, ladies and gentlemen. He is indeed cheering on Mr. Ian Joyner.
Nice to see. Just about every driver in the field has someone cheering them on here in the Almeida Racing League. Dowden still successfully defending the lead from Ian Joyner. So we've had two different winners, so far from the 2 races we've run. Could we see a third here? Can Dowden defend from Joyner? Looks like Jeremy Childers is just waiting in the background there, but he's deep. Oh my God, that is crazy deep there from Jeremy Childers. And somehow, he's managed to translate that into a small gain. How did he do that?
Yeah, it's fair to say he got away with that. I don't think it was just himself. I don't think it was Ian Joyner. I think also in the commentary booth, we all started to tense up a little bit there as we brace for impact. Certainly, sometimes you're better off not knowing. But he has indeed managed to make some huge gains with that. But it looks like John Morandini looking to try and fight back as well, putting the nose there on the outside. But right now, Michael Dowden, the New Jersey driver, under attack there from number 14 of Ian Joyner.
Oh, a little bit of a wiggle on the exit there for Joyner, and that's going to give Dowden a slight bit of breathing room. But you see the little bit of slipstream start to kick in there at the end of the straight. It is present, but it's not huge. So you need to make sure that you're right up behind the car in front when you exit turn 1, and make sure you don't mess it up. Otherwise, you're not going to have a chance around here. Who's the latest on braking for the right-hander? Well, looks like they're pretty even, but it seems Joyner is a little more confident on the throttle out of there than Dowden is, and there's the move for the lead. It looked like Dowden was slightly bumped out of the way there, and that's brought Childers and Morandini right into it. Adrian and Mika side by side across the line into turn 1 there, as we get another view of how Ian Joyner did it on Michael Dowden.
Yeah, it was definitely very much on the inside. You can see Joyner cutting a little bit of the grass. I don't think it was particularly dirty, but maybe a little bit of elbow barging on the way out. I do wonder if we can see, maybe we can see that view there with Kevin Adrian as well that you were just mentioning as well. If Rob can gear that up for us, definitely sounded like a good time. You see right now,
this is a good battle.
4 cars going for it, ladies and gentlemen, for the lead. Oh my God, you see it down there?
Jesus, oh man, okay, so they just crashed.
Whoa.
So, all right, so we're going to see this all on replay here. It was a 3-wide moment coming into the left-hander, and just pure insanity emerged from there. They went 3-wide again into the next corner, and that's completely changed up the running order. Halliburton and Lockwood have found their way through on all of them, and Hendricks and Benfelsen have gained as well. Oh, no! Oh, Dowden! He's managed to fall all the way to the back of the grid here.
Oh, and then that's Dowden and Joyner, both of these guys. They've been going at it all session long, and it's fair to say they've both just come a cropper of it. It looks like Joyner's now in the pit. No, he's still moving. He's still out. He's in P13, but what a shake-up. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a new race leader, the 07 of Jeremy Childers. You can see there they had a little bit of contact, just trying to get out, get running again, and not quite leaving a little bit of space there on the outside was Mr. Michael Dowden. Ian Joyner's like, I'm on the grass, guys. Let me back in. Definitely a spicy bit of maneuver in there, but a new race leader, ladies and gentlemen, Jeremy Childers out there in front.
Well, he's got John Morandini right behind him. And, well, Morandini is certainly wanting a win here tonight. And on pace, it seems like Childers was faster. So we'll see what Morandini can do from here. They do have Halliburton and Lockwood not too far behind, and we still have almost 13 minutes remaining of this race. Look at how close the coaches are there. They're driving together. They're not battling with each other. They are dragging each other up into the battle for the podium. Battle for 5th behind. Hendricks is still ahead of Kevin Adrian and Leon Benfelsen. And of all that chaos that we saw on the replays a couple of laps ago, it seems like Adrian was one of the best to come out of that from the drivers that were involved in it. Oh, Morandini and Childers side by side for the lead.
Yeah, definitely. That was a big change there. As Morandini, we've seen he had the best pace in practice, but can he maintain that in a race? Certainly, he did manage to get into the lead before Halliburton came and said, no, thank you, I'll take that, as did Brian Lockwood. And this time, he's got 12 minutes left to do it. Certainly, the coaches, incredible pace here. Ladies and gentlemen, if you'd like to be as fast as these coaches, first off, good luck. But if you'd like the materials to try and head in that direction, definitely think about signing up to the Almeida Racing League. Certainly to do that, you do indeed have to be a member of the Almeida Academy, and I strongly suggest that they do things like they do courses, they do workshops, they do the league, pit parties, they go and absolutely slam down on the officials, they do that. There is a lot going as well, and if not, if you'd rather do something a little bit more independent, check out the Motor Racing Checklist.
Absolutely. And all of the drivers here outside of Halliburton and Lockwood are students of the Almeida Racing Academy. They gained access to this league through their membership of the Academy, helping themselves to get faster and improve their iRating, improve their racing technique. Have a look at the rate that Halliburton and Lockwood have caught up to Morandini and Childers, though. They are well within half a second of them as they cross the line to begin the 12th lap of this race, projecting 14 laps to go as things stand here. Once again, just the depth at which Halliburton breaks into that corner is mind-boggling. Look at the time he made up there.
I do wonder if he has indeed got an anchor hidden in that car and indeed keeps dropping it for the apex. He's there making a move up on the outside and maybe a little bit of contact there. Jeremy Childers looking to try and hold on. He's got Lockwood on his left, but it is indeed going to be going into this chicane, doing exactly the same as I would. Takes a wider line, let him go and see if he can make it up on the corner exit. It's one of those things where you got to look at this strategically as well. The coaches are quite quick as Morandini absolutely closes the door there on Halliburton. He's like, you got me once, I'm not going to give it to you a second time. But you do have to weigh up, you know, the pros and the cons. Is it going to be more tactically advantageous to you to try and stay on the back of these coaches and keep you away from the likes of Sammy Hendricks in P5?
Well, you saw what Morandini just did there through the hairpin. He parked it on the apex. He forced Halliburton to slow up. That allowed him a little more breathing room. I think that's what Morandini's trying to do here. He's trying to back these guys up. He doesn't want to allow Halliburton the chance to get up the inside. He's going to stick to the inside here for the entry to the hairpin, and Lockwood sees the chance to find his way through, but no, not going to work. Yeah, Morandini's playing this pretty well, I think.
I believe he may have indeed been watching Carlos Sainz back when he was at Ferrari. I do remember him actually, not sandbagging it, but certainly leaving it a little bit just to try and keep Charles Leclerc in the draft. And that's kind of what he's doing right now. But don't get me wrong, Halliburton looking to go on the outside yet again. And miraculously, looks like he's been able to get it done. I don't know how he keeps doing that, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe there's a bit more grip out there than what we stereotypically would predict. You know, maybe he's got a little bit of a technique that we don't know. But certainly, if you want to learn it, you've got to be in the Almeida Racing Academy.
Yeah, a lot these drivers can teach you. There's the move up the inside for Lockwood. There we go. Done through the hairpin. And Morandini is back to third. Now he has Jeremy Childers back in his rear view mirror. And that is mirror singular. There is a single center mirror in the cockpit of these cars. No wing mirrors, as is obvious from the silhouette. Have a look at the depth once again of braking from Childers as he winds on about 90 degrees of steering to find his way through the corner. How much speed can you carry through Hamilton, that left-hand kink? It's a corner that I always struggle to get right on this circuit. And well, it looks like they've all managed to nail it. Now the coaches are free and ahead of Morandini and Childers, and they can battle for the last 10 laps of the race.
Well, it just looks like we've got some more battles going on, actually, between back in P9, Niemanen and Dowden. And I believe Dowden's just been able to make his way by, ladies and gentlemen. As, oh my gosh, what's going on down here? We've got 3 cars. One of them went really deep. Who was that now?
Niemanen and Lund trading spots there. That's for 9th. So what happened here? Dowden trying to pass Niemanen, and well, he gets up the inside at the hairpin, but ooh, Niemanen turns in while Dowden looked like he was going to wash out wide. And so Garrett Lund was able to take great advantage of all of that.
Ooh. Well, it looks like we're now going to have a 3-car pack, 4-car, maybe even a 5-car pack, ladies and gentlemen, as it looks like Garrett Lund is leading this, and with an absolute onslaught of almost like a hornet's nest behind him in the terms of, well, Michael Dowden, Ian Joyner, Thomas Niemanen, and indeed Adam Mika getting in on the action there. Huge, huge action going on, but can these guys make their way past? Certainly Garrett Lund, definitely one of the most unfortunate drivers I've seen here at the Almeida Racing League. Definitely getting caught up in a few incidents, but Dowden behind, been very aggressive about where he's been placing their car today.
Look at the run there from Michael Dowden. Got up alongside Garrett Lund. I'm wondering if Lund actually lifted off there to let him go. It seemed that way. It was a big burst of speed from the number 4 on the way down to the corner. Maybe that is the mythical draft that you've been referring to all event thus far, Zippy.
Oh, the draft in these cars is absolutely massive, but I do wonder where it's such short straights if they've not been able to fully capitalize on it. But it's made for some great racing now. I thought he was going to get 3 wide for a second there. Ian Joyner having a little bit of a look, thinks better of it. Fair play to him. As you can see, his biggest rival just a little bit ahead of him there of Michael Dowden. But these guys are indeed starting to break away a little bit from Niemanen and indeed Adam Mika. So if those 2 guys work together, they could indeed catch this pack of 3 cars ahead of them.
See the door open to the inside, and there goes Ian Joyner, but Michael Dowden will stay wide there. Yeah, it looks like these 2 are going to be fighting for the next couple of corners at least. Garrett Lund trying to keep Ian Joyner behind, and wow, that's very deep. That's too deep. Off goes Lund straight into the tire barrier, and that is his day done.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, I wouldn't say we saw it coming, but once it started to go deep, it was like, bye-bye, straight. He didn't even stop for checking or security. He was just straight out there on the plane and took off. Yep.
Good night, sweetheart. And, well, with a little thonk into the barrier. Yeah. Oh, Ben Filson's falling. He just lost 2 positions. Something happened to him. Okay, so this was coming into turn 2, actually. Is this another case of, oh, yeah, he turns in, but he's still not slowed down enough. And the rear tires say, nuh-uh, you ain't gonna do nothing. And Ben Filson falls back to 8th place as a result. It seems like, well, actually, incidentally, we are past the point that the first 2 races finished in terms of time. We are now in that extra 5-minute window, so maybe pushing these cars long enough, we're starting to potentially see the tires fall off, and so there's less confidence under brakes.
That's definitely I wouldn't rule it out, but we can see the fastest lap has just been taken by Brian Lockwood. But I say that, Rob, if you can put the fastest laps up a second here, I want to point out just how close this is. So Brian Lockwood's lap was a 47.466. Kane Halliburton, 47. I've got this backwards. There you go. Let's try this again. Best lap, Brian Lockwood with 47.466. Kane Halliburton with 47.467. So that's not even a tenth, ladies and gentlemen. That's not even a hundredth. That is a thousandth of a second. That's close.
Yeah, that is incredibly close. I mean, it just goes to show how well these two drivers are matched on their day, you know? I find that Lockwood, in terms of his race results in this league, has had worse luck than Halliburton's had. Hasn't quite been able to capitalize on his pace, but when these two are out front fighting their way together, yeah, they can match each other very well. Morandini and Childers matching each other nicely as well on that lap, running about a tenth apart thus far. On the previous lap, Lockwood taking the fastest lap back from Halliburton. So we'll see these last 3 minutes emerge. Who's going to complete that podium? Halliburton and Lockwood have driven away from all of them. It's Morandini versus Childers for that position. Then there's Abdul Rahman Mahmood and Kevin Adrian here. Mahmood in the green and Adrian in the red. As yeah, looks like there's been a bit of a change there for the lead potentially.
Yeah, I do wonder if it was a connection issue at first, but Brian Lockwood's telling us that, yeah, he did indeed manage to get ahead of Halliburton for a second there. Look, taking that really wide line. It gets a little bit too wide, so it was a brief moment. Carried a little bit too speed, thankfully able to catch that car as we turn to the battle happening indeed for P3 between John Morandini, ladies and gentlemen, and Jeremy Childers. It's the 2 versus the 7, and these guys have been having a good battle so far today. Definitely good to see Childers up at the higher top end of the results page. And I do wonder if he is indeed going to be able to get a podium. I don't think he's managed one yet, but this is his opportunity. He's just got to make it happen in the last 2 minutes of this race.
Yeah, like I said, Childers was massively quick in qualifying for race 1. He started in 6th. Meanwhile, Morandini, he started up in 3rd. So these two, obviously up the pointy end of the field, and for very good reason, but Childers for the moment seems to be threatening to beat Morandini in terms of lap times. Their fastest laps are only about 0.06 of a second apart. That's how closely they're matched.
Yeah, I do love me some good close racing. At this point, we're a Suspect Series, although it's got sandwich condiments on the car. Even if you use the lightweight mayo, low fat, whatever you want to call it, ladies and gentlemen. I generally don't have mayo on my food, but definitely you can't really shave any extra advantages in terms of adjusting the cars. That's the number 4 going a little bit wide there. That's Michael Dowden, and now he's under attack from Ian Joyner. These two guys have been going at it all day today, and it looks like they're indeed going to go back at it again as there's been an incident. Niemanen, and I believe that may be Mika involved there. We'll have to have a quick replay of that one, but definitely not what Niemanen wanted to happen.
Yeah, so Adam Mika in the green car there goes defensive. Niemanen a bit wider on the way in, carries more speed through the turn. It looks like Mika actually started sliding before the contact, so maybe Niemanen gets away with that. Lockwood and Halliburton on their way to the finish here. Last corner of the race, last corner of the season. And Brian Lockwood will finish ahead of Kane Halliburton there for the top 2. Morandini keeps Childers behind him. And that is a podium for the number 2. It's on between Mahmood and Adrian once again. And they're side-by-side, drag race to the line. But Mahmood is going to win it and grab 6th place for the number 6. And looks like that's going to be pretty much your whole field done. Just got Adam Mika and Thomas Niemanen ready to go here. Niemanen unable to recover too well from that earlier incident we saw from him.
Yeah, definitely some fun moments during this race. The 3 wide was exactly the kind of action I was looking for, but statistically speaking, we've seen these coaches race together, and I think that may be the first time we've seen Brian Lockwood actually managed to get ahead of Kane Halliburton. So there may indeed be a little bit of a victory dance going on for the number 13 car. But don't get me wrong, going against Kane Halliburton, you'd have to enjoy it while it lasts, because let's be real, not too many people can say that they've indeed beat a driver rocking 8283 iRating. That indeed is a pretty high number, ladies and gentlemen. But Brian Lockwood takes your race win with Kane Halliburton in second. John Morandini, great turnout by him today in third with Jeremy Childers in fourth. Sammy Hendricks, solid result with fifth. Abdul Mahmoud is in sixth with Kevin Adrian in seventh. Crowd favourite Leon Bittmelson takes eighth with Michael Dowden in ninth. Ian Jordan in 10th with a close rivalry between himself and Dowden. Adam Meeker, Thomas Nieminen and Garrett Lund closing out your 13-car grid.
Yeah, shame to see the retirement from Lund there in the final race of the season. But yeah, looks like that is the conclusion of this season 3B of the Almeida Racing League before we move back to our single make racing for the next season. This is I'm really looking forward to the resumption of regular running for this league, because it's been nice to have this little experiment, like I said, putting the drivers through their paces at a variety of different combinations. But yeah, I'm just hyped for the season to come. I mean, these slow motion replays are what I always love to see. Just how close these drivers bring their way into these corners. The Legends car always putting on fantastic racing. As Zippy, I understand you've managed to catch up with Brian Lockwood.
Yeah, Brian, we're going to talk, well, obviously, we'll congratulate you very briefly on the race win there. I do wonder if there's going to be a little bit of friendly banter between yourself and Kane Halliburton, but you are indeed an Academy coach. So let's focus more about what you're doing over at the Academy, and maybe hear about a couple of the seasons, there's a couple of details here for next season. We've been dropping a couple of little hints, but we haven't actually dropped the bombshell of what we got to look forward to for season 4.
Sure. Well, looking forward, and I actually think this race was a perfect jumping off point, because I think something we've been seeing that's hard to see when you're up and coming is your pace isn't entirely defined by your mistakes. And if you take a look at the race between Kane and I made some huge mistakes, but they didn't, I still moved forward relative to the field. And I wanted to take a second to really highlight that, because that's going to be a big focus. Well, that's always been our focus, but we can more clearly point to that as we move forward into next season, as we go into the Formula 3, and really work on what we're trying to do when we're driving, what our perfect corner looks like, right? Because if we can optimize what we're trying to do with the Formula 3, if we can optimize what we're trying to do in general when we're driving, the mistakes don't hurt as much, especially if we're driving against people who aren't quite optimizing what they're trying to do. So really excited to move forward into that next season. Yeah.
Well, Brian, I have a feeling you're mentioning the Formula 3 there. I do understand that there may indeed be a different car for the top split. By all means, correct me if I'm wrong, but what can we expect to see from the top split of these races?
That's right. I misspoke there. So the Formula 3 is going to be the top split car. The rest of the splits, we're going to do pre-qualifying in the BMW with a lower level of traction control than last time we were in them. The BMW M2, that is. And the top, those who qualify for the top split will have the option of jumping into the F3, the broadcast split, which will be in. We feel that car really, really highlights those tendencies, tells you exactly what's happening, tells you what it likes, what it doesn't like. And yeah, I think it'll be a great opportunity for those of us who are ready for a car that highlights those differences a little more to take on the new challenge.
Well, definitely looking forward to that. But I am reading in the chat here. We got Kane Halliburton. I want to see your reactions to this. Brian bribed me for the win. Owes me a double cheeseburger. And I've actually kindly asked, if you're going to get the man a double cheeseburger, I've asked if he'd like some sauce with that. So, Brian, tell us a little bit about when, what kind of brand cheeseburger Kane indeed is going to be getting, or indeed if there is a little bit of friendly banter going on between yourself and the other Academy Jack coaches.
See, here's the thing. I'm hungry. I want the double cheeseburger. That sounds great. I actually might order one right now. You know, I was mentioning to Kane that I made like 18 big errors that race. He made one. But I crossed the finish line first. So that's my cheeseburger.
Definitely a good bit of banter there. And fair to say, I do believe that if... I've just seen what Rob's put on the broadcast. Well played from our director, Rob Campbell. But I definitely, ironically as it is, I want to see a picture of Kane Halliburton now eating a cheeseburger that you've indeed funded for that. That's definitely good fun. But Brian, we're going to leave you to it. Very much looking forward to season 4. And ladies and gentlemen, the Formula 3 sounds like it's going to be the car of choice. It's definitely going to be going back to some open wheel, a bit more potential here from the F1600. But Brian, thanks for coming in. And again, congratulations on your race win.
Guys.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's just going to about wrap it up for us here on Pit Road Productions, or indeed Swelio Almeida if you're watching live on his channel. Be sure to hit subscribe on both of them, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to find out exactly what sauce Kane Halliburton had on that double cheeseburger. And I'm hoping he doesn't just get you a cheap one. Like, I'm thinking at least 5 guys. Like, McDonald's is not going to cut it. Ladies and gentlemen, and by all means, if you are indeed a owner of a restaurant or indeed a restaurant chain, so like Subway, McDonald's, we like to eat, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm sure Swelly would definitely enjoy even more sponsors are coming on board. If not, we certainly would not say no to food. Yeah, definitely. We'll leave it at that, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining us. My name is Daniel Zippy Salmon, and joining me in the booth today was Reese, the Southpaw Racer Gardner. By all means, check him out on Twitch, and Rob, the Goatee Campbell. Thank you very much for joining, and we will see you next time here on Pit Road Productions.
The Almeida Racing League is growing fast. Hundreds of drivers, multiple splits, broadcasted races, and it's not just about individual winning, it's a team championship. You race with your own squad, you learn how to compete, and you grow together. And we don't throw you into the races blindly. Every week, we help you prepare with pit parties to train side-by-side battles, workshops with live coaching, 20 driving challenges with full tutorials, and even group raids into official iRacing races after the league night. For just $25 a month, this is the most complete training experience in sim racing. Join us as a member today to start your advanced training and racing with us. I'll see you on track.